that this is an ongoing investigation. GPD is not commenting on the incident. That's it for now. We'll see you tonight for KUAM News Primetime.
This news update is brought to you by Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
All right, and because it is Monday, it's time for your workweek weather, and we are going to the National Weather Service, where Brandon Aydlett, older brother, is joining us today because the man he looks exactly like his twin brother is on the bayou right now. So, Brandon, happy holidays to you. We haven't seen you in a few weeks. So, first of all, how you doing?
It's been quite a while. I'm doing pretty well. Hope everybody at KUAM is as well. But I'm just getting through the December month and just enjoying kind of making new memories with the wife and son. And he got the ride the train at the Micronesia Mall for the first time in a few years.
Nice.
So he's been very excited to do that.
Oh, well, we just ran a story, actually. Like, you might want to take the missus and your little one to, there's a guy named Anthony Cruz, and he lives in Mongmong, and he's got this fantastic Christmas display open to the public and everything like that. Your kid is going to love it.
I saw that story last night, so I might just have to do that.
Yeah, nicest guy in the world, too. I mean, like he epitomizes the Christmas spirit and everything like that. So, and, we wish happy holidays to you and your family as well.
Thank you so much. But yeah, let me just show you a little bit about the weather across the region, and I'll switch my camera around real quick. So we're actually kind of a quiet pattern across much of the region, from the Marianas all across Micronesia. The interesting thing that we are watching right now is from south of south of Palau, all the way down to south of Chuk. We're seeing a nice little band of westerly flow, 15, 20, 25 mile per hour westerly winds right along the equator. And so that's something to kind of keep in mind for the next week or so, because where you see those westerly winds, you don't always get the circulations forming, but the westerly winds don't take away from the possibility of circulations forming. And so the weather models do show some stuff developing across Micronesia from time to time. Nothing substantive, but with those westerly winds flowing across the lower latitudes is something that we're going to be watching out for nonetheless. Across the Marianas, we are a little bit quieter. We did have a surface trough pass last night. We saw a few showers over the Marianas, but largely it was quite lackluster, no thunderstorms. However, to the east of the Marianas, there's quite a few thunderstorms where this large upper level low is spinning at about 30,000 feet. And what that upper level system does is it helps to enforce an upward motion through the atmosphere. And where you have increased upward motion, that's where you see the favorable areas for thunderstorms. As we slide over to our weather radar, there are some showers east of the Marianas waters. So you can see the 4 islands, and this the larger shape around the islands. That's our 40 nautical mile coastal water zones. And so we do see some showers approaching. We'll probably see those showers diminish a little bit later on today, but then we do have a chance of thunderstorms tonight and tomorrow. But let's go ahead and cue up those slides, and we'll kind of talk about that we have across the region. And so let me switch over to my other view. And so right now we do have a few headlines to note. Basically across the entire region, seas and surf are up. So we're seeing hazardous surf along north and east facing reefs of the Marianas. Also, a small craft advisory is in effect for the Marianas. Like I mentioned, there's going to be a couple of surface troughs passing through, one that passed through last night, another one for midweek that will give us a small uptick in showers. And then possibly we could see a shear line late in the week or early sometime next weekend. A shear line is something that we see typically in the dry season. It's the southern end of a cold front that sweeps off of Japan, and the very southern end sometimes drops as far southward as the Marianas, and it tends to bring us stronger winds, higher seas, and also blustery showers from time to time. That's kind of our dry season rainmaker. For Micronesia, we're still looking at seas and surf also up, and there's actually an increased chance of inundation for a lot of the low-lying islands around times of high tide. If you go to our webpage, you can definitely see a lot of the hazards. You can click on the links for most of the specific, or for all the specifics on those hazards. The next page will go, kind of breaks down some of the hazards for the Marianas and all throughout Micronesia, kind of detailing some of the reefs of which are seeing the hazardous surf exceeding 9 feet. Of course, here for the Marianas, north and east facing reefs, we're seeing some pretty impressive surf across the region. Surf that may have approached 15 feet last night, looking at some of the buoy data. And so the next slide, I do have a regional map kind of showing you what those wind speeds are across the region. Nearer to the Marianas, we're seeing weaker northeast to east winds. Those winds will shift to the southeast later on tonight and for Tuesday. But over the Philippine Sea, we see winds of 25 to 35 miles per hour out of the northeast. That's kind of behind one of those shear lines that's going to stall out to the west of the Marianas for the next couple of days. But the really impressive thing is out toward Wake Island, well to our east, there is a massive area that has been seeing 25 plus miles per hour wind for the past several days. And that large area of strong winds, that is what has generated the large northeast swell that we've seen the past several days. That's going to continue for the Marianas and across all of eastern Micronesia from Chuuk eastward through much of the week. And as we go to the next slide, we have talked about some inundation across Micronesian islands. And so a lot of people are wondering, why is that the case? So is it a sea level rise with climate change? Well, there's a lot of different factors at play. One, the main reason is the lunar phase. We are in a new moon cycle. So that means the moon and the sun are pretty much on the same side of the earth. So the full moon cycle, we have the earth in the middle, and I will go ahead and just let you know, these circles are not drawn to scale. The distances are not drawn to scale. Please accept my artistic license.
The moon a little bit bigger than that, but just a tad.
This is not accurate, but the sun exerts a pretty strong gravitational force on the planet, and so does the moon. Now, when the gravitational pulls are opposite each other, that does maximize the high tides and minimizes the low tides. But it's when we are in the new moon phase that you have the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun both pulling on the same side. And so that tends to help increase the high tides even higher and the low tides even lower. Additionally, this time of year in the winter months, the Earth is in its closest point to the sun. That is called the perihelion. So we are approximately 91.5 million miles away from the sun. It's a bit of a road trip, and the 6 months later in June, July, we're the farthest point in the orbit from the sun. That's about 94.5 million miles. So we average 93 million throughout the annual orbit. But so we have all these things at play that kind of maximizes the tide heights. Additionally, in the La Nina cycle that we're currently in, that tends to increase the sea heights in the Western Pacific. So we've got all this going on. We've got the high surf from the northeasterly swell that is adding insult to injury. And so now we're seeing some of the high tide inundation across much of Micronesia. We've been seeing some pictures and video on social media throughout Micronesia.
And Brandon, how long do these cycles typically last when we're in a new moon phase or a full moon phase?
Well, it goes pretty quick. The lunar cycle is about a 30-day cycle. And so I think we just peaked past the new moon phase maybe yesterday or the day before.
New moon on Monday, as Duran was there.
Okay, there you go. And so we're going to gradually move away from that. So as the moon goes into like a quarter phase, and so that the tide heights will start to moderate a little bit. So those high tides will lessen. So that's the thing to keep in mind. So a couple more days for this inundation potential throughout Micronesia. And I hear somebody singing.
Yeah, I made that a Duran reference, and now Chris is like taking us back. Also, I watched all of the Twilight movies recently, so I'm all about new moon.
All right, so new moon, that's where we are right now. There's going to be one more phase that's going to be of concern, and that will be the first week of January. So we're getting through the second phase. January will be the last one of major concern. So if we go to the next slide, we'll see the 7-day forecast. So we're going to be, it's going to have a little bit of a dry season feel this week, especially toward the end of the week where we might see that shear line affecting us over the weekend. That's going to bring us stronger winds and cloudier skies. But the real notable thing to keep in mind is the seas and surf for this week. Combined seas of 10 to 12 feet will be hazardous for small craft operations. Worth noting is that is a long period swell, so it's not going to be really choppy as if the strong winds were right over our area. But if there's decent surfing areas, there might be some people out there in Telefofo Bay. But as always, we urge people to exercise extreme caution when entering the waters in these conditions. We did lower the high surf advisory for west-facing reefs. That northwest swell has decreased. But for the next several days, surf will be up on the north and the east. Rip currents will be powerful and strong. So I know Retidian, they have closed their wildlife refuge for several days because of the rip currents. And so people, please exercise caution if considering any type of activities on the water. The winds will pick up a little bit Tuesday, and then things will kind of edge off by midweek. And with that, I will just close out. If anybody would like more information on the weather, find us on weather.gov/GUM or on Facebook at NWS Guam.
All right. So, Brandon, I guess, and I got to close with this. We sincerely appreciate, all the effort and, the learning experience that you and your twin brother bring here. But seeing as how you guys are twins, and, I would assume that, you're not completely like identically alike and everything like that. Your background is decidedly more bare than your brother, who is like Christmased out. I mean, I have not seen one LED, one Christmas tree, real or artificial, or, even a stocking.
I've got an eyeball for the weather computer.
That'll work. So are you? And we know, and you guys shared your family traditions with us, and how you guys, like decorate your homes and open up them to the community and everything like that. So what have you got going on as far as your own plans with your wife and young son?
Well, right now we have just finished putting up our third Christmas tree in the living room, and
only the third. Okay, yeah, you got some catching up to do.
Just the third.
You're only on your third.
We do have a lot of other lights up, and my son, he loves decorating. He likes the lights, so I think we're going to try to find some more stuff and just surprise Shirley, my wife, and she'll just have to come home and deal with it. But one of these days, we're going to pull out the decorations into operations and put some stuff up. We've got some stuff in the back, but it's just busy. I don't know how Landon does it. I don't think he does much, so. I'm kidding. He stays busier than we do.
Well, we really do want to catch up with you and see how you're decorating your home, because it is absolutely amazing what you guys do.
Absolutely, and so Lane and I will be putting up some more decorations at his house, and he's got a lot more stuff on the shelf, and so we'll be glad to have you over sometime.
Absolutely. Okay, and can you give us a pro tip if you're looking at getting high-end decorations and everything? Where should people go if they want to get those really good lights that last from year to year?
Good grief. Lights that last for year to year, I've not had any success with that. I just had to keep on going every year and see who's got the deals. I know there's Black Friday, there was a number of discounts starting to go out at some of the stores, but probably as we get closer to Christmas, if there's anything left, I'd be looking for those 75% off deals. And,
all right.
And hit up the stores.
Well, good word, man. So buy new Christmas lights every year. So Brandon, we appreciate it. We'll see you next week. And our island retailers and the Power Authority, thank you for your contributions to the economy.
Absolutely, glad we can assist.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care. Thanks.
All right, now let's go back to Bree for more island headlines.
The Republican Party of Guam going to bat for Senator Joanne Brown over what the senator has called a witch hunt by the Port Authority of Guam. The GOP in a release said Port GM Rory Respicio has reached a new low.